Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to you all again to another session of Rukmini, the turning of time and the dawn of era. In this session, we are actually diving into the chapter 13. We have completed chapter 12 chapters until now. And the last chapter that we have spoke about is Anjali's tale, how she has renewed her body, how she has practiced esoteric yogic practices, and how was her journey all the way from Treta Yuga, like as a female yoga practitioner, and then her soul has been evolved much since then until Dwapara Yoga. So she has been waiting for her guru, I mean the teacher, with the help of Rukmini Mata. So now we will dive into for next chapter. The next chapter is chapter 13. It is titled as Rukmini Encounters Sage Durvasa. So when we hear the name called Durvasa, it is so familiar to us because we have so many tales in our ancient mythologies in the Indian history regarding the sage Durvasa. As soon as his name is uttered from anyone's mouth, the thing that comes to our mind is about his anger. Now, today we are talking about the anger and the anger management issues too that we are facing in our lives. how did how did Sage Durvasa overcome his anger, and how did Mata help him? All we have heard until now is like he has been subjected to anger, and he is used to issue the curses because of his immediate trigger of emotion. But that has to be controlled, is what Mata thought. And Mata, as Sita Mata, or even as Rukmini Mata, she has been working a lot on all the sages or across the world to reduce that issuing the curses. Earlier in olden days, even in Satya Yuga or Treta Yuga, I mean, even before Treta Yuga, I would say Satya Yuga, this boon is granted for sages because they would help in aligning the city or the society in a truthful way. Such is the intention behind it, and that is why sages have been acquiring that capability of issuing the curses to align the society in a rightful way. But eventually, over the period of a time, that has turned into a disastrous effect. They have been subjected or succumbed to this immediate trigger of emotions, and due to that trigger, sages has been releasing the curses, even if they have personally been offended. Now, what this makes us think about the definition of a sage. When a person is granted a title as a sage, what does it mean? It means he or she should not easily subject or succumb to these emotions. He should be in an ideal state where he can discriminate between these emotions and maybe work on those emotions, right? But some of the sages, they have been subjected, they are being subjected to this immediate trigger of emotions, and they were releasing the curses that is bringing a lots and lots of damage to the society, not only to the people that made a mistake, but they were releasing the curses to their whole generations that are coming by. And Sita Mata, as a mother of this world, she couldn't sit idle. I mean, both the children in front of her are suffering. If a person has released the curse, it is not only the people who receive the curse that are suffering, it is also the person who is releasing the curse that is also suffering. Now, if both the children are suffering, how would that make a mother feel? Now she has to intervene, and uh, I mean, make that situation calm, and then let both of them understand the situation and the disastrous effects because of that immediate trigger of emotions, right? Now, that is why Mata, as a Sita Mata, first has worked a lot. If you have read about Untold Story of Sita, you might have gone through all of this of her work regarding this curses, releasing of the curses on the sages. Now, at the end of the story, even in Untold Story of Sita, a woman who has been traveling to visit the guru has been violated, and then the guru or the uh, teacher whose nephew is that woman is a nephew of that teacher, and then a teacher, immediately as he came to know about this issue, he started releasing the curse. He started pouring the water or holy water in his hand and started to release the curse. But as soon as she came in, Mata intervened, and then she actually told him that I will take care of this girl. Do not release the curse. It is not only the person who will suffer, it is you. You are until the stage. You have worked a lot on your emotions, you have worked a lot on your meditation, and you have traveled all through this path. When you release the curse, you will lose that energy, you will lose the power in you, and that will take you way back again, and you still have to work on it. Now, there is a nature that will act according to its law, and we have seen that inside this story as well, how that nature has affected on that person, or eventually when the next chapters we will see that. But she didn't allow that sage to release the curse. That is how the chapter has ended, and how Sita Mata's life, obviously, she has been released from that life. That is the reason that Sita Mata has uh, released his life from that reincarnation. Now, she is going to deal with Sage Durvasa. We didn't read about Sage Durvasa. At least I don't remember reading about Sage Durvasa in Untold Story of Sita. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there is a situation here in this book where Sita Mata has met Sage Durvasa. Now, why did Sita Mata meet him? And why did Rukmini Mata meet him? What is the reason? What is Mata trying to help him, or what is Mata trying to deal with him? Is what we are going to see in this chapter. Now, Rukmini Mata, now let us come back to Rukmini Mata's life. And obviously, Anjali is the one who is reiterating the story to Amba and Sujata. Obviously, they spoke about Anjali's esoteric practices and how she is renewing her body by staying in the same life. Now, when they were speaking about Durvasa, who is this sage Durvasa? He is dated back from Satya Yuga. He is traveling all the way from back from Satya Yuga. Now, how did he live that long? We'll see at the end of the time. But as if you have heard my past session about Anjali's tale about relieving the body using esoteric practices, that is how even Sage Durvasa is also renewing his body. He doesn't have the same body though, but he will renew the bodies by using the esoteric practices. And why? We really have to understand why and what is the reason that he is renaming the bodies. he doesn't obviously. People who are at a certain stage, they wouldn't want to go this cycle of life and death, forgetfulness, and then again working on self, and then trying to collect the past, and then reworking on their karmas again. So it is all a bit of process. Now certain people, they wanted to stop this life cycle, and they wanted to work on the emotions. For example, the anger or the lust, or whatever, the love, anything, any emotion that is triggering in your body, if it undergoes like life and death circle, it has to be forgot, and then it has to be renewed, and then there'll be certain karmic patterns attached uh, to that cycle, right? Now if they maintain the same body or a same soul or a same cycle of life, then what happens is they can continuously work on those emotions. That's what most of the higher state sages people and think, and don't think that we all have to do that. But no, these are esoteric practices are kept hidden from mythology or the epics as well, in order to maintain the safety of the people. But when the people or sages or souls reach to a certain stages, they can be eventually introduced to that practices. Now, Sage Durvasa was one such sage, where he is obviously renewing the body way back from Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga too. Now, she knew that who is she? Rukmini Mata or Sita Mata knew that in distant past, sages rarely issued a curse out of anger, but only to activate certain karmic impressions that were already present. So when there was a karmic impression, this reminds me of something about sage Vasista giving a curse to a Vasu. Vasu is nothing but they are the people who fly like this. We will be, I mean, humans will be a straight standing persons, and animals will be, some of the animals will be like walking this way on the ground. Vasus, I mean, I do not remember how to call that in English, but they are some kind of angels who fly like in this direction, so they have committed a certain mistake, like stealing I mean, this is a story. They have committed a certain mistake, stealing a cow, a holy cow, from Vasista's garden. And then because of certain reason that they have. And Vasista, when he came back to the home, he sat in the meditation and realized that this cow has been stolen by these Vasus, and then he released a curse saying that you have committed a mistake. You go back to the earth, and then just get a birth on the earth, and then learn from it, and then come back, is what he released the curse. Now, why do sages or the holy people or the higher dimension people send people to the earth? Is because there will be a faster evolution on the earth rather than in the certain dimensions. Earth is the one where people try to take their reincarnations and evolve much faster than the higher dimensions. Now he released that curse because he did think upfront, saying that one of the Vasu who committed the majority of the mistake, whose mistake having a heavy weightage, then he was given a curse saying that he should take a longer period of birth in a single life, and then he will come back to this life, is what he's released. And that Vasu is none other than the Bhishma. our own Bhishma Pitamaha. So he was the one born out of the curse, but yet sage Vasistha thought upfront about it, and then he wanted to activate that karmic pattern, and he wanted that Vasu to be useful in this whole Mahabharata cycle, and has to be a standing icon of dharma in that whole Mahabharata cycle, and then to the future too. I mean, that curse is kind of thing that Sage Vasistha was has given, and then that is kind of okay, because it has activated certain karmic patterns, and that curse released. So the usage of that curse is very much useful, because Bhishma Pitamaha, without Bhishma Pitamaha, there's not much of Mahabharata in the Kuru family, right? So he is really an icon, even though minor mistakes, what Rukmini Mata said in the previous chapters has been done, but yet he is a standing icon for a dharma. He, in the final stages, even Sri Krishna took Dharmaraja or Yudhishthira to Bhishma Pitamaha, who was lying on an arrow bed, and then made him listen to the dharmas that he was reiterating. And then he said he taught a lot of dharma sukshmas inside the rule, how a ruler should be, and how the ruler should actually take care of his people, and a lot of things. So that was his importance, and he also gave a powerful slokas to us, like Vishnu Sahasranama. So that is his importance. That is I really feel privileged to talk about him, because he stood as a standing icon for dharma, for not only for us, even for he was even respected by Sri Krishna because of his knowledge and implementation of dharma. So that was his importance, and that curse was useful to the society. But there were people, when you recollect the stories from untold story of Sita Mata, Meenakshi, our own writer, Miss Dena Merriam, and in this life she is Sujata. Meenakshi's father, she, and her whole family has been suffered due to the curse made by one single person, right? And they were also dealing badly with the women, and then their whole generations has been given the curse, and that's what Sita Mata was trying to work on. I mean, if a mistake is done, punish him or her. I mean, that itself Sita Mata didn't agree, to frankly speak, because they were trying to deal with the emotion, and then eventually that releasing the curses has been let down, because to save the society, and since they are being wrongly used. Now, sages were able to activate this process and cause the effect to occur at the optimal time for learning and growth. Now, the curse that was released by Sage Vasistha, it was obviously for the learning and growth, and there'll be an optimal time in order to in order to have an effect to that curse. That curses was useful to the society, but some of the curses, like how Meenakshi has been suffering in the past life, those curses were not useful for the society, unless people who has no knowledge about the mistakes that their ancestors have done, they were also suffering, right? And also, sages began releasing the curses, even if they have offended them personally. Now, personal offending, like if someone comes and offends me, I would really get emotional, right? But if I am titled as a sage, then should I get offended? It is like, I mean, I would leave that question to you guys, to you all who are listening. If a person now they really have to work on those emotions, is what Sita Mata was emphasizing. Sita Mata was also very successful in getting many of the sages to cease from issuing the curses, like how we have seen at the end of Untold Story of Sita, like stopping a sage to release the curse because of the violation that happened on his nephew. So she was able to work on the sages to release the curses, stop from issuing the curses, with the exception of sage Durvasa. Now, she was able to work on many of the sages, but Durvasa, somehow or other, in different parts of the society, he was releasing the curses. Many of them were trying to, like, he was. They were trying, they were feeling sad, or they were feeling fear. They were scared about facing Sage Durvasa. Because what might trigger out of his emotion, whatever they do, whatever they do, even a single mistake he couldn't tolerate, he would release the curse. Such was his anger, because he has the power, he has the energy that is accumulated towards his meditation. He's using that energy to release the curses. In eventually he was also suffering, because he's losing that power and energy that has been accumulated because of his meditation. And of what use is that meditation, is what Sita Mata was trying, was like thinking. And Sita Mata definitely, because she is the mother, and she definitely knows how to deal with the sage Durvasa. And one particular day, after Sita Mata had retreated to the forest to raise her children. Now, Sita Mata wanted to raise her children in the forest, not in the palace, in front of all the buildings and lot of luxurious things. No, she wanted to raise her children close to the nature, and also she has a lot of things to do by being alone, because she has a responsibility. Now, if she be in the palace and by the side of Rama, her work will be restricted a lot. Now, that is the reason why she came to the forest, and of course, that was also because of a curse released by Brigu, sage Brigu. Eventually he also suffered because of that curse, and she has used that curse. Of course, she didn't have to take that curse on her, but yet she took it, and then she retreated to the forest. And also there were a lot of reasons that are tied to this forest retreat. She can raise her children very healthy, emotionally strong, and also she can serve better to the society. She can handle more things by being in the forest rather than in the palace, and she has been working a lot on this earth. So that is the reason. There are many reasons, and this is one of the reason too. And she also knew to raise. So Sage Durvasa was trying to visit Sita Mata after she retreated to the forest. And now Sita Mata knew of his temperament, and so cautioned Soma. Now, how Anjali was an immediate aid to Rukmini Mata, in that life, Soma was an immediate aid and a close aid to Sita Mata. She also retreated to forest along with her, and then Sita Mata, Soma, and then two children, Lava, Kusa, were also staying together in that a lovely place in the forest. Now, she has cautioned Soma to be very, very careful around him, so as to not displease him in any way. Um, both of them, Sita Mata and Soma, both of them made every effort to make him comfortable and to not displace him. And they gave the best that they have to Sage Durvasa. And usually they used to have two cottages, like two small huts, one for Mata and then one for children and Soma as well. They used to share those huts. Now, Sita Mata, she gave the best, her cottage to Sage Durvasa and did allow him to sleep in that cottage, to take rest, and provided the best that they can in that point of time, at that point of time. And then she also slept along with the Soma and the other two children, in the other cottage. Now, what happened was, she, as Sita Mata, did really wanted to test him of his anger, and she really wanted to help him. Now, how did she help her is, she came out during the night and sat in front of a tree. Now, once everyone were slept, they came. She came out of the cottage and sat under a tree, and then she started meditating. Now, what happened was, after eating the meal, after finishing the meal that was offered to Sage Durvasa, she a desire has aroused inside Sage Durvasa. He looked at the beautiful woman before him and became infatuated. His desire was aroused. Now, see what happened? um, why did this desire arouse in says Durvasa? Because Sita Mata wanted to test him. She gave him some herbs. She gave a meal that included some herbs in it. And because when he ate that meal, his desire has been aroused and became infatuated on Sita Mata, who is sitting in front of him. It is none other than the Lakshmi Devi. It is none other than the mother of this earth. It is none other than the one who is in charge of this whole world, and a Shakti to Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. And on that lady, this desire has been aroused by Sage Durvasa. He also wrongly believed that Sri Ram had abandoned her, and not realizing that their separation was due to an ancient curse. Uh, so he had that feelings. All sort of this delusions have come to him, and then he was subjected to that delusions. Now, once wrong thought enters to the mind, it causes lots and lots of thinking patterns and lots of delusions, and then it will mask our mind, and we will all obviously be subjected to this Maya, what we generally call us. Now, says Durvasa was in a stage where he was also subjected to this delusion. And uh, what happened when he saw her seated in a blissful meditation under a sky abundant with stars, embraced by a subtle light? She appeared as a beautiful celestial being, and he desired her. Now, isn't this similar to the Ravan's desire? I'm asking you all, isn't this desire similar to the Ravan's desire? I would say yes. He was also under that delusion, taking Sita Mata as an ordinary lady, and it doesn't matter about the ordinary lady or a heavenly being. It is about the lady that you're dealing with. It's about a woman that you're dealing with. Now, Sita Mata, Sage Durvasa was also he was also traveling on the same path as of Ravana. He thought her to be a celestial being, and he desired her. Quietly walking over to where she sat, he stood in front of her. Before he could say a word or lift a finger, Sita Mata held up her head and said greatly, gently, "Great sage, I could curse you for approaching with such desire the faithful wife of Sri Ram, a mother whose children are sleeping nearby. But I will not. I could decree that this desire which has awakened in you will now pursue you eternally, unable to find fulfillment. But I will not." Remember these words. But I will not. Instead, what she is trying to do is, instead, I will bless you that the illusion of lustful desire never comes over you again. Now, friends, really think about this statement. Did she issue a curse? I mean, of course, the root cause was she was the one who included the herbs, and then she was the one who is the reason to awaken that lust in him. But what is she thinking? And even if she intended to do that, because he was a sage way back, dated from way back from Satya Yuga, he should have controlled his emotions if he is up to that point. But he couldn't, and he was easily subjected to that desire and emotion. And lust is also an emotion, right? Now, in he could issue she could actually issue the curses in two ways, which I just spoke about. She could stop his liberation from fulfilling, and also she would also she could have been she could have been cursed. She could have cursed him because of desiring a faithful wife and a mother of children. But she did not. She found out the root cause. The root causes because of the lust. Or because of the lust, all sorts of things have come up, and then she identified the root cause, and then she blessed, saying that the lust that has awakened in you will be removed, is what the blessing that she has given. She really I did identify the root cause and then removed it, instead of actually trying to curse on the things that eventually came up because of that root cause. And this is Mata. She is not a lady, she's not a woman, she's a Shakti Swarupini. This is the mother. This is the motherly nature. Mother would obviously try to identify the root cause, whereas people around us will what they think is about, they actually fall on the sequences that or the events that are happening. But mother is the one who will try to identify the root cause of a mistake that was made by the kid, and then try to solve that root cause. We all the mothers, we, even myself, I have to learn from them, from this thing, saying that we have to identify the root cause of a kid's mistake and then try to work on that root cause, rather than punishing the kids on the events or the mistakes or the events that has uh, happened. Of course, we might get emotion, we might get anger because of the events or the consequences, but yet the responsibility of a mother is to identify the root cause and try to work on that root cause with the kid. So and again, what happened was that now Mata has realized his desire, and it is sage Durvasa, right? How important he is, how much fame he has. Now he being subjected to the lust is one of the defamation thing. Now hearing those words, the sage fell onto the ground and begged her forgiveness, telling her that he was now unable to face her. He left right then. Sita Mata knew that up until then he had not fully conquered his lust, and she wanted to use this opportunity to help him to do that. But she also wanted to show him how much greater it is to bless than to curse. This is an important line. As a mother, she know that he didn't fully conquer his lust. When a person, when a soul seeks the is trying to seek the liberation, that soul should actually conquer all kind of emotions, right? Now, as a mother, she knows that her kid didn't conquer the emotion called lust, and she actually tried to help him uh, on conquering his lust, and she used this opportunity to awaken that lust. And then when it is awakened, she blessed him to remove that lust from his body, so that it will be helpful for him. Now, also, she wanted to show him how grateful it would be to bless and have a positive effect on him and the society as well, rather than to issue the curse. Once you release the curse, then it's also the energy that you're losing from your body, which will move you away from the liberation as well, right? Now, she has also introduced the way to identify the root cause of a mistake of a person, and then try to remove that root cause, rather than issuing the curses on the events that were happening. So this is a big learning lesson for all of us, including sage Durvasa. Now, did she see him again? Now, and Amba was asking her, did she see him again? She could never face Durvasa with who has that intention again, right? But if she could face Ravana with all of them, Anjali was telling her that if she could face Ravana with such intentions and desire, and she could safely come out of his surroundings or ambience, she could obviously face says Durvasa. Because uh, mother wouldn't get scared to face the kids, even if they were notorious, even if they were good, they are equal to mother, right? So she could obviously face Sage Durvasa, and she didn't happen to see him at that point of life. But obviously now is the time again, as Rukmini Mata, to meet Sage Durvasa. Um, she also told him, this is an important, once more important sentence, that a curse issued out of anger will reverberate and return some negativity back onto the one issuing the curse to. Now, obviously, that's what we spoke about, right? When the curse is released, they will lose the energy, and it will reverberate on the person who issued the curse as well. And also, the negativity will be upon the person who released the curse to. And again, now this we will come back to the story of Rukmini Mata, where Sage Durvasa uh, has been planning to visit Sri Krishna and Rukmini Mata. So now what really happened was, Rukmini Mata was hearing about Sage Durvasa's role in giving the boons for Kunti Devi. Now, who is Kunti Devi? As we all know, I mean, she is a mother of this five kids, who is the Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira. Uh, Dharmaraja is also called as Yudhishthira, and Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. Obviously, these are Pandavas, who were the sons of Panduraj, and then she was a queen to Hastinapura, and she was a wife to Pandu Maharaja. Kunti Devi, she was given a boons by blessing as a boon by says Durvasa to conceive children uh, by invoking the heavenly celestial beings. Now, uh, because of that boons that he has given to her, she used those boons eventually to conceive the children. There's a big story attached to this because Kunti's now this dates back to the Kunti's birth. Kunti's father is the ruler of Mathura. Now, where did we hear this word called Madhura? It's a kingdom, Sri Krishna's kingdom. So Kunti's father is the ruler of Madhura, and thus she is the sister of Vasudeva, the father of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna's father Vasudeva is Kunti's brother. The mother of Kunti and Vasudeva is a Naga woman. So she was born to a Naga woman who a Naga woman is the one who can take a human form and also a serpentine form. Now, when Kunti was young, her father allowed her to be raised by his childless cousin Kunti Boja. Kunti Boja. So she was actually adopted by his childless cousin Kunti Boja, and that is where she grew up. So actually, she is the aunt of Sri Krishna, who is the cousin of her children, the five Pandavas. So they were like cousins. Kunti's kids and then Sri Krishna were actually the own cousins, because their parents were own brother and sister. So, what really happened was Sage Durvasa needed someone to look after him while he is engaged in deep tapasya. Tapasya is nothing but a meditation. And so asked the Raja if Kunti, who is the Raja, he asked Kunti Bhoja to if Kunti could provide this service for a period of time, like looking after his needs, even if people, I mean, once he comes out of meditation, he should not be looking or engaged in different materialistic things. That's how he wanted to deeply involve in meditation. So he asked if she could let Kunti to serve him, and then Kunti regarded it as an honor and agreed. Obviously, with the blessing of her father Kunti Puja. She served him faithfully, and when his tapasya or meditation was over, returned home. But before she did, he gave her a special mantra. Mantra is nothing but a sacred syllables or a words. When you utter those sacred syllables, you get the wish, that you get the things that you wanted, that you wished for, that would enable her to bear children by invoking the devtas. Now, this is the sacred syllable that is used for. Now, he trained her to on how to use that mantra to invoke a children. I mean, to bear children by invoking devtas. Now, friends, think, why why does she need those mantras? Sorry, why does she need those mantras? She is actually supposed to bear the children with the celestial beings instead of her husband. Is this what is her fate? Looks like it, right? Um, so Sri Krishna, he says Durvasa when he foresaw the future of Kunti Devi, because he was very much satisfied with her work and her things, that the things that she was doing in front of him. So he actually was able to foresee her future, and saw that bearing a children with her husband is very problem for her. She actually has been destined to bear the children with the celestial beings, and that is why he rendered that mantras or sacred syllables to her. because this would help her in invoking devtas and bearing the child. Because and obviously Anjali thinks that Sri Krishna was the one who put the thought into Sage's mind to bless her in that way. After a few years, uh, so Kunti married Pandu Maharaj. We all know who Pandu Maharaj is. Is one of the kid of Satyavati Devi and Satyavati Devi as well. I mean, not one of the kid of Satyavati Devi, but one of the grandchildren of Satyavati Devi and Shantanu Maharaj. Obviously, a grandchildren of Bhima as well, Bhishma. So one day, they had no children. Pandu Maharaj then took a second wife, and still there were no children. Uh, so yeah, there were no children for both of them. And one day, when Pandu Maharaj and his wives were staying in a countryside, he is a person who loves the nature and would love to stay close to the nature as well. So they would really go on a trip. Usually, as we say it now, they would really try to go on a trip and then stay to the countryside. Pandu Maharaj was out hunting and accidentally killed a sage and his wife while they were in a loving embrace. So when they were in a loving embrace, he accidentally killed a sage and his wife. It is sometimes said that before dying, the sage cursed Pandu, saying that the Raja would die the moment he embraced either of his wives. But other people claim that Pandu was simply unable to have children, and the dying sage was aware of this. So, yeah, there were both the pros and cons of the story, but that was the reason why he was not able to bear the children. And then he was actually uh, being given a curse, is what we have been listening to that, but there were pros and cons to the story as well. Now, Pandu Maharaj was so remorseful over the death of the sage and his wife that he decided not to return to the kingdom but rather to retire to the countryside. Now, as a Raja, as a king, he wanted to leave his responsibility and retire back to the countryside. I mean, to the materialistic world, I would say that leaving the responsibility and retiring to the countryside would make the wrong people sit on the throne. And then I mean, they will be responsible for their decisions too, right? Because Pandu Maharaj left his throne and retired to the countryside, it is none other than Dhritarashtra who was being made as a temporary king. Now, that is when his blind brother took over his responsibilities and became the temporary king. Now, as a temporary king, he's still a temporary king. Years had passed, and Pandu and his wife still had no children. So they both didn't have children. His Pandu Maharaj's second wife was Madri, and then Madri and Kunti were there along with him. They couldn't bear the children. And suddenly, Kunti remembered the blessing she had received from sage Durvasa. Now, until that point of time, she was not able to remember that because of the maskings and delusions, and that too, there should be a right time to invoke that mantras, right? Until then, the higher self or the Sri Krishna wouldn't let her think about that, obviously, right? So she was actually at right moment to conceive the children, because if they were in the palace surrounded with all of the materialistic world and materialistic things, they the peace the peace would not be in their heart, and then because of the disturbances, the mantras or the sacred syllables would go haywire, right? So a situation has to come to them where they had to retreat to the peaceful countryside or peaceful place and iterate or revoke those sacred syllables to bear the children. And they were no normal children. They were not like born out of embracing between a man and a woman, right? It is not they were not the normal children. They had to be they had to take a birth. They had to be born without the touch of a man and a woman. Now that is why it is considered as a sacred thing. And you know what, when such type of kids has to take birth, the emotions of a mother or a father has to be aligned with each other. They has to be in sync with each other, and they had to be in a place where they are vibrating with so much of peace. Now when they were in palace, they wouldn't get that peace, right? Because there's a lot of things that they need to take care of and a lot of emotions that they will surround with. That is why a situation has come for them to retreat to the forest and be in the peaceful place in order to give a birth to powerful children who are yet responsible for flourishing of the region, right? So due to the past life meditations, Kunti had attained tremendous yogic abilities which had remained latent until then. Now, using the mantra or the sacred syllable, she was able to invoke the energies of particular devata who gave life to Pandu's seed. She had to concentrate very intensely on that devata. So this is what I told about. She had to intensely concentrate on that devta. It is like the single thought, no single thought in meditation. It's not like we are sitting and thinking over the thoughts coming back to breath. No, she has to intensely concentrate on that devata and then invoke that mantra in order to have a blessing by that devta and with with the, with the agreement with the acknowledgement of Pandu Maharaj. This all takes place with the acknowledgement of Pandu Maharaj. It is not known exactly how Kunti conceived her children, since Pandu couldn't touch her without dying. Esoteric yogic practices are kept secret so they won't be abused, and so we may never know how her sons were conceived. So it is not known how she conceived her sons, because if everyone knows that, that will be used for a wrong purpose, and that's not this world is that is not how the evolution of humans are designed for. That is these esoteric practices are for people who attain certain stage, and there should be a big reason for them and a big cause and effect for the society out of those practices. So um, and now, why did she invoke dharma? I mean, she did give birth to Dharmaraja first, is because Kunti actually lived in a secret, which we all know, but at that point of time, Amba and Sujata doesn't know. So Kunti lived with a secret, a misstep she made after leaving the care of sage Durvasa that caused her to be the untruthful, and this has resulted in much suffering for her. To compensate for that, she first invoked Dharma to help give birth to a son who would uphold truth at all costs, and she conceived the son we know as Yudhishthira. Now, what is that misstep? The misstep is nothing but she actually tried to test that mantras, and then she actually invoked the baby by looking at the sun god. He is none other than the Karna. she actually gave birth to Karna, and then she discarded that baby because she was not even married at that point of time. And then and then there was a big lot of story to that, which we will not deep dive in that, but yet that was considered as a secret for her. And then she was suffering much because she had to leave her baby, and then she invoked that dharma without husband's acknowledgement. So that was the thing, right? She had to live with that secret. So that is why she wanted to give birth to dharma, a kid who always sticks to dharma and who would always uphold the truth. And she invoked Dharmaraja, Yamadharmaraja, whom we obviously call him as the giver of death. So he would actually justify at any cost, because at the time of death there shouldn't be any attachment. It all depends on the karmas, and proper judgment has to be given, right? So he was given, Yamadharmaraja was the in charge of the giver of the death. So and again, he invoked Dharmaraja, Yamadharmaraja, and then due to invoking that particular celestial being, she gave birth to Yudhishthira, the eldest son. Yudhishthira, whom we obviously call him as Dharmaraja. Next, she invoked the power of Vayu, asking for a son with the might, loyalty, and the devotion of Hanuman. And she gave birth to Bhima. And obviously, Vayu is nothing but an air celestial being, air god. Uh, Obviously, Hanuman is also a Vayuputra. He's none other than a cousin to Bhima. That's how they both are related to each other. And friends, this is all with the acknowledgement of husband. That is why she is very very happy with these kids, because her husband and she and her husband were totally aligned with these decisions. This made her so happy. Then she invoked Indradev, who bestows upon the ready devotee the light-filled, luminous mind, and Arjuna was born with great mental powers. That is our great Arjuna, who is who was very very fond of Sri Krishna and Rukmini Mata. Um, and the power that he was born with is because he has a great mental power. Now for every human being, I'm just talking about the human beings for now. For every human being who has a great mental power, he would obviously vibrate with so much positivity. He will not easily succumb to the negative emotions, anger, lust, emotions, frustration, sadness, everything, all these negative emotions. He would People who are with a lot of mental powers would try to conquer those negative emotions, and then try to work on them. So they will be vibrating with so much of positivity. That is why Sri Krishna and Rukmini Mata was really very fond of Arjuna, because he has born with lots and lots of mental powers. Uh, so she finally invoked Ashwini Devtas, and twins with healing gifts were born to Pandu's second wife, Madri. Obviously, she actually helped Madri on concentrating on Ashwini Devtas and bearing the children with the twins, Ashwini Devtas. Thus, the five sons are each imbued with the particular attributes of these divine forces, all due to the blessing of sage Durvasa. And now, Rukmini Mata did realize that uh, uh, realize that all this happened because of sage Durvasa's blessing to to Kunti Devi. And Pandu Maharaj, both Pandu and his wife, second wife, died before the children had fully grown, and that is when Kunti returned to Hastinapur, expecting that her eldest son would be named her husband's successor. Sri Krishna took great interest in her children and did Mata, obviously. You We all know uh, the relationship between Sri Krishna and Arjuna and how he adores him, right? So um, and again, out of all these things, this was the story regarding Kunti giving birth to her children. Now there is another story on how these five kids were contained with each other. Now these are the five kids who are growing up healthily, of course healthily, but yet a lot of things has been happening in Hastinapur. There was this Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, and Dusasana. All of them were envying these kids, and they had to face lots and lots of struggles. And these people are not like do whatever we want. These people are like who are sticking to dharma and the lines of dharma, right? Now now when they stick to dharma, when they really have to fall on the truthful lines, they has to travel as one single person, or they have to travel on a single line. All of them has to align with their emotions. All of them has to align in the decisions. All of them has to agree with the heart, not through the mind. Because my elder brother told me something. I don't have to I mean I should agree to that. It's not by compulsion, it's not by responsibility, it's by heart. They have to align in a single lane, right? Now as Kunti is growing up, she saw a threat from their cousins, because they were trying to use all the ways that they can to separate Pandavas, because as one they conquer, divided they are of no use, right? Now as Kunti was growing up, she is the one who contained all these five people together. But as Kunti is growing older, who will actually try to unite them? There should be one person, right? As and this also happens to us, uh, where at certain point of time, mother would actually raise their children, and then there will be I mean there will be a point where that her son has to be married to a girl, and then a girl takes the responsibility and unites the family as well. So such is an important of daughter-in-law, and then the mother-in-law as well. They are the persons who will combine together and unite the family together. That is an importance of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, is what I understood in this story. And that's what the Vedas and epics and mythologies also say, iterate to us. Now, she is actually looking for girls, actually, at that point of time, the girls who can unite. But if a person, if she has five kids, and the daughter-in-law should be like five daughter-in-laws. And if daughter-in-laws comes, why are you following Dharmaraja? Why are you following Bhima? Why are you following Arjuna? All these questions comes up, what when it comes up, what happens is that they will be divided at any point of time. They had to travel on a single lane, at the same lane, and there should be a force that unites them all together and makes them feel as a single person, not the different persons. Because these five people, and again, this is a whole big story again. these five people are from a single force, but divided as humans, but they are from a single higher entity, right? A girl should come to their life who can make them feel as united, and then make them travel on the single lane. And until this point of time, it was Kunti who helped them to stay united. But as the energy of mother is deteriorating, which is expected as for a human being, now there should be another lady or another person. Obviously the wife plays a major role in husband's in anybody's life. Now she has to come who can make them united. Now when Arjuna won Panchali or Draupadi from Swayamvara. Swayamvara is the one, the way the high-ranking girl of a marriageable age in ancient India chose her husband from a group of suitors. So that is called Swayamvara, and it is the interest, it is the importance that was given to the girl to choose her husband. Such is an importance of women in India, or in any part of the world too. So, he won Draupadi. He won Draupadi from Swayamvara, and then he brought Draupadi home when they were in exile in the forest. And Kunti inadvertently said that he must share what he won with his brothers. So he must. Every one of them thought that those were the accidental words, and because the words has been uttered from her mouth, from their mother's mouth, they had to stick to that rule, is what people were thinking. Those were not accidental words. Nothing in the lives of Pandavas is accidental. Because Kunti is not such an ordinary lady who is like talking something blah blah blah, who she is very very careful. Imagine, she was the lady who received the blessings of Durvasa. Did anyone in the history receive the blessings of Durvasa? No. There might be some, but I have heard only the name of Kunti receiving the blessing of Durvasa. How modest she is, how humble she would be, how much of thinking that she would attain, to attain. She wouldn't utter words just like that, right? So she was such a lady to utter, such a lady. And then she is not an ordinary lady to attend these words. And this was the reason, I told you the reason behind that, right? There should be a lady who can contain them, who can unite them as one. As she sensed her energy is getting decreased, there should be a lady who will be introduced to them. Of course, a mother, if already a mother is there, there will be there'll not be a second mother again. And obviously there should be a wife who can unite them, all of them together. So she worked very hard. Kunti did work very hard to keep them unified. Um, and we can imagine the mother of sons or daughters. How much she works to make them unite with each other. Now she worked. It is not an easy task for all of them, for all the five kids to stay united with each other. It's not an easy task, friends. I can really imagine what how imagine the difficulties that Kunti had underwent to keep her five sons united. And when she learned that Draupadi has been born through the blessing of Agnidev and held within herself his powers of will and fire, she knew that Draupadi could keep her sons unified, facing as one the dangers they were fated to encounter. She also knew that Draupadi would love them all and not be able to choose one from among them. Furthermore, she realized that Draupadi needed them all to contain the fierceness within her. Only she could be the wife to Yudhishthira when he became emperor. She would certainly benefit from Bhima's complete devotion, and she so admired Arjuna's skills. The soft, soothing energy of the twins would contain her ferocity. And above all, she was a rare woman who could defy convention and maintain harmony among five husbands. And so this was Kunti's decree. She thought a lot about this. Draupadi was born with so much of fire within herself, and she contained that ferocity. Every nature in these five Pandavas, it is useful for her too, and she will obviously be able to love each of these Pandavas equally, and then make them stay united. And then it is also required for Draupadi to contain her ferocity. uh, she is not an ordinary woman to handle with. She should be able to maintain her state of being with all these five qualities within the Pandavas, and then make herself more and more beneficial to the society. So it was no accident, and Kunti purposefully gave that decree for better things to happen in the lives of Pandavas as well as Draupadi. Kunti is a very wise woman. She knew exactly what she was doing, but again, let's go back to the story of Sage Durvasa and then Mata. Now, Mata was blessing Sage Durvasa again, and then Sage Durvasa happened to come to Rukmini Mata, Dwaraka. And then at one point of time, there was another thing, that a situation that happened. Sri Krishna and Rukmini Mata were walking on a streets in Dwaraka, and then by the seaside, and there was a sudden spring that aroused inside from the sea, that the salt was rising up, and it's making the river more salt, more salty. And then Sri Krishna did mention Rukmini Mata, saying that whenever you offer this water to anyone, Rukmini, just taste it with your lips, because it will neutralize that salt and make the salt to take away, and that would make the water so sweet for the people who are drinking. Now that was the things. And then says Durvasa was traveling to Dwaraka on the same route of the river, and then he was carrying lots and lots of gifts. When he was carrying lots of gifts, he obviously felt so much of tired, and then he was relaxing at that point of time. And then Rukmini Mata was disguised as an old lady, and then she offered help with him, she offered help to him. And then they were sitting on the side, on the river. And then this old lady, she actually went to river and said that she and offered him the drink. Before offering him the drink, she wanted to taste it. Who is it? It is none other than Rukmini Mata, right? She tasted it, and then she offered that drink. And again, this says Durvasa, what happened? Because of that situation that happened, he immediately rise from his seat and started issuing the curse. Before he started issuing the curse, Rukmini Mata just did this little fifth finger, bent her little fifth finger, and then this made says Durvasa fall back, and then weak physically. And then she immediately sensing the danger, says Durvasa again raised to curse her. And immediately at that point of time, uh, Sri Krishna came in between, and then he offered him to that drink to make himself cool and calm and relieve out of the anger. So what he told him was, I am glad my wife has come to greet you. I hope she had served you well, is what he told him. And then he said that, okay, and then he realized it is Rukmini Mata himself who came in front of him, and then who helped him actually to relieve his thirst, and also he helped him to in stopping to issue the curse. So the sage was still doubled over in pain, but he looked up at Mata in shock. He had failed to recognize her. So we meet again, great sage Durvasa. I hope I have not inconvenienced you. So Mata and Sri Krishna helped sage Durvasa onto the chariot, and they rode into Dwaraka. Mata obviously later told Anjali that Sage Durvasa came to apologize him, and then Mata did tell him that there was no need to apologize, and she actually want him to understand the effects of anger on one's own body. Okay, when we get immediately triggered out of emotion and anger, it is not only throwing a bad result on the opposite people, it is also throwing a negative impact on our body, because there's a lot of hormones that will release out of that anger, sudden emotions, right? So so then Mata said the real reason she had wanted him to visit was to thank him for what he had done for Kunti Rani, for making it possible for her to bear the children. He then revealed that Sri Krishna had shown him in a vision that Kunti's children would be the ones to spare Hastinapur from the destruction and lead the later flourishing of the whole region, but that she would not be able to conceive with her husband Pandu Maharaj. So this was the real reason behind Kunti getting the blessings of says Durvasa. She has to bear the children without her husband, who actually are intended to relieve the destruction of Hastinapur, and also they were the means to flourish the whole region. So that was the real reason, and Sri Krishna was the one who showed this vision to Sage Durvasa, and then Sage Durvasa was obviously given this thought by him to give that blessings or mantras to Kunti Devi. So obviously, and this is where the say meeting with Sage Durvasa has come to an end, and by this story, what we really learned. I would leave the question to the listeners itself, but for me, what I have learned is about the emotions, angry, uh, control that we need to have. Of course, it's not a one night story or a one day work. The realization is more important that we can implement in our lives as well. It is a continuous work, it's a continuous progress. It doesn't come by a day or a night. It's a continuous progress where you have to work on yourself, and then make your lives more and more and more better. So that is the meeting with Sage Durvasa. And that's the end of the chapter 13. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much for patiently listening to this story. And we will meet back